relatively short time. Today we're going to see Wilson Alvarez to do the kicking for the Seattle Seahawks. Efren Herrera is on injured reserve, and he's a bit under the gun, the youngster Wilson Alvarez. These two clubs getting set for action. It should be a very interesting contest.
Well, the Raiders are playing for their pride and poise, and they're not going to sit down on this game.
We'll be back with all the action from the Kingdome, the Oakland Raiders, and the Seattle Seahawks. NBC Sports presents the best of the National Football League, the American Football Conference. Today from the Kingdome, it's the Oakland Raiders versus the Seattle Seahawks. Today's game is brought to you by Michelob Light, an exceptional light beer with a rich, smooth taste. By the new Chrysler Corporation for 1982. Chrysler has the cars, the quality, the prices America needs. And by Champion Spark Plug Company. Champion, world's #1 seller. And by Alcoa, producers of energy-saving aluminum. In the Kingdome, we're getting set as the Raiders have won the toss, and the youngster, the rookie Wilson Alvarez, born in Bolivia, will put it in play. He's taken over for the injured Efren Herrera. Whittington and Willis are back to receive. Whittington at the 5, at the 15, the 20, out to the 24-yard line. Arthur Whittington on the return.
20-yard kickoff return for Art Whittington.
Ball spotted just shy of the 25-yard line.
Big minor with Ellis Thomas on tackle.
There's a look at Mark Wilson, Kenny King, and Derek Jensen. Branch, Chandler, and Ramsey, three outstanding receivers. We've got Lindsey Mason playing for Art Shell at left tackle today in the offensive line for the Raiders. First down from the 25-yard line. Play action. Wilson screens it out. That's Jensen at the 30, the 35, and out of bounds after getting a first down at the 40-yard line. Ken Easley, the safety, came over to run him out of bounds. A well-designed play for a first down.
Oakland had said they wanted to run the football, and what do? They start out with play action. Mark Wilson getting the ball out on the screen, and you're going to see the rookie guard, number 60, Kurt Marsh. There he is on the left side of your screen, coming out with a key block. I talked to some of the players before the game in the Oakland locker room, and they said they have to run the ball well against Seattle. They started out with that play action, but they're going to put it on the ground, and here they go right with it.
And it is Derek Jensen who caught the pass on the opening play. Jensen starting with 369 yards and a 3.8 average. Mike White made the tackle. White, number 70. Here's the defensive line for the Seattle Seahawks. White starting for Doug Sutherland, Jackson, Beeson, and Butler, and Beeson in the middle starting for the injured Joe Norman. Simpson, Brown, Easley, and Harris in the secondary. Second down and 6. This time, Kenny King crosses the 47. He was met there by Jacob Green, 79, and Tuiasa Sopo, number 74. Shy of the first down. It'll be third down and a long 3.
Third and a long 3, but the key is the Raiders have the ball on about the 47-yard line. Field position is so important. All season long, the Raiders have started drives from their 10, inside the 10, from their 18. That's a key situation, having the right field position. They're in good shape here.
34.5% on the year on third down conversions. The wide receivers to the near sideline. Mark Wilson in trouble. Wilson trying to run for the first down, and he gets it. As he crossed over the 50, a penalty marker went down. He's at the 48-yard line. Making the stop was Keith Simpson, the cornerback from the left side, number 42, who's sitting right there in the middle of your picture. Mark Wilson out of Brigham Young University. 45.6% of his passes. #1 draft choice.
Jay, on that last situation, number 55, Michael Jackson, was blitzing. Let's wait and get this call.
The referee is Gordon McCarter in his 15th year of officiating. And he's got a problem with the mic.
But he's calling illegal use of the hands against Keith Simpson, number 42. But the thing that forced, there you see number 55, Michael Jackson, on the blitz, coming inside of number 79, Jacob Green. Wilson sees him, goes outside, doesn't have a receiver, but he sees that first down marker, and he's going to get to it.
On first down, Mark Wilson with all kinds of time, a bad throw and a penalty marker down. The throw to Kenny King coming out of the backfield was behind him. The coverage there by the linebacker, Keith Butler.
I think it's against Michael Jackson again. I think it's number 55. He was trying to guard the tight end. I think he had the tight end, and I think he's going to be guilty of holding him.
There is Jackson. He has really been having an outstanding year for the Seahawks of Jack Patera. He played at the University of Washington, a #3 draft choice. I'm reminded in '79 in the Rose Bowl in the fourth quarter, that interception of his stopped the drive to preserve a Husky win. It's the Rose Bowl, the granddaddy of them all, will be seen right here on NBC New Year's Day. Penalty taking it down to the 38. That was Kenny King getting wrapped up by Robert Hardy, number 75. Hardy, the third-year man, number 10 draft pick from Jackson State.
Hardy's not very big. He'd been out a few games, coming back in to play now. They've moved Mike White from his spot back over. Hardy's only about 6'1". They list him at 6'2" in the program. You know, they always do that to beef you up. But he's only about 6'1", about 250.
A real
but he has
fine.
great quickness.
Yes, indeed. Branch is wide to the far side. Chandler here to the near side as Wilson, under pressure, throws it out. Jensen goes down, and a fine play made by Keith Simpson. Well, that gets the crowd into the ball game here in the Kingdome, this sellout house. Simpson from Memphis State, now playing back at the cornerback position, doing an outstanding job there. Arthur Whittington coming into the game for the Oakland Raiders, number 22, into the backfield. And coming out is Kenny King.
But Keith Simpson had played strong safety before. Now he's out at the corner. The defensive coaches think that he's the best athlete on the defense, and that's quite a compliment, particularly when you have an outstanding rookie like Kenny Easley.
Fred Anderson, number 63, has replaced Jacob Green. Green going off under his own power on the far sideline, shaken up on the play. And it's going to be 3rd down and 17 for the Raiders. The ball at the Seattle 45-yard line. 12 minutes, 20 seconds to go. There's Green sitting down, the big guy from Texas A&M. Wilson sets up quickly, has time, and it is almost intercepted. Dave Brown cut in front of Bob Chandler, the intended receiver, and almost made a big play.
Jay, one of the things that happened in that situation, Wilson was trying to get the ball downfield to Bob Chandler in a deep curl pattern. When I first saw Wilson play in Kansas City, one of the things that I thought to myself is that he's taking too long to get rid of the football from when he decides to throw. He has a wind-up motion. The defensive backs watch that. When the quarterback starts to wind up, they start breaking for the football, and that could present a lot of problems for him.
Ray Guy, number 2 punter in the AFC. Paul Johns is back to receive the punt. It's a high spiral. Johns lets it go, and it's into the end zone. Seattle will take the football at their own 20-yard line. When we come back, 11:56 left to play in the first quarter. No score. 48-year-old Jack Patera, his 6th season on the right. Tom Flores, 44 years old, his 3rd year as head coach of the Raiders, on the left. And first down for Seattle from their own 20-yard line with Zorn at the controls. Zorn uses play action, and he throws, and it is incomplete. Going for Largent along the near sideline. Monty Jackson on the coverage, number 42.
Monty Jackson on the coverage, and one of the best defensive backs I ever played against was when he was with the Rams. But Zorn delivers this football on time, and you can't stop this pattern when it's thrown on time. The only problem is he throws it out of bounds. You'll see Largent makes a great diving catch. He has the football, but he comes down, the first thing it hits is his shoulder, and it's out of bounds.
Paul Johns, number 85, replaces Sam McCullen for the Seahawks at wide receiver. Just the Otis Brown behind the quarterback on second down. That's Johns coming in motion. The pitch coming to Brown, and they were keying on him. Coming across was Hendricks to get a hand on him, slow him down. Otis McKinney, number 23, on the tackle. That'll bring up third down. It is Zorn working with Brown and Dornick. As you get a good look at Hendrick there. The Otis Brown has made a lot of difference, as we said at the top of the show. McCullum, Largent, and Sawyer, good receiving core. John Yarno anchoring the line with Newton and Bailey, Essick and August. Now we've got McCullum, Johns, and Largent, 3 wide receivers in there for Zorn to throw to as they bring the tight end Sawyer out of the game. Our referee, Gordon McCarter, has a problem on the field. He comes over to square it away, and now they're, I think, set to go. This telecast presented by authority of the National Football League. It's intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Seattle Seahawks and the NFL is prohibited. Apparently a problem with the clock. At the moment it shows 11:20 left to play. We are in the first period, no score. And of course we also noted that there was a problem with Gordon McCarter's microphone in the early going. There's Jack Patera. His record 33-55, a native of Bismarck, North Dakota. Played at Oregon for the minions of Len Casanova way back in the early 50s.
While they're trying to get that problem straightened out on the field, one of the things that I'd like to talk about is number 83, who we saw in that last play, Ted Hendricks.
Oh, he's been tough against Seattle. He's been tough against a lot of clubs.
He certainly has. But one of the things that's happened this year is that Ted Hendricks only has 1 sack. Last year he was leading the team. One of the things that the Raiders told me was that particularly San Diego, when they play San Diego and San Diego is practicing, they'll have a player on the practice field with Hendricks' jersey on. Everybody's looking for Hendricks now. They want to block him. But what's happened? Rod Martin, now on the other side, has 9 sacks. So when you block this guy, it opens it up for other people. And Rod Martin is outstanding linebacker, good quickness, and he's picked up the slack.
Still trying to get the clock and the microphone and everything in sync here in the early going. There's the official on the sideline, very nattily attired today, the man who's handling the clock.
Pretty easy to see him, isn't it?
Yeah. David Hughes now replaces Dornick in the backfield, and here we go for the Seahawks, 3rd and 13 from their own 17-yard line. Zorn out of the backfield to Theotis Brown. He's over the 25, 30, first down at the 32-yard line. Ted Hendricks on the tackle for Theotis Brown, his 18th catch of the season, and a very fine play to pick up the needed yardage.
It certainly is, but one of the things we said at the top of the show was that Theotis Brown is a difficult man to bring down. Watch this. Ted Hendricks is one of the best tacklers around. He grabs his shirt, but he can't stop him. He's such a strong runner that you can't tackle him high. You got to get down low around his legs.
Brown wasn't playing at St. Louis, where the Juice, Otis Anderson, and a young man from SMU who has done an excellent job for them, of course, has been playing in the other position there. Morris. And also they have a young fellow named Stump Mitchell who's come on very well. Now still a problem with the clock, which now shows 10:48 on the board here.
Looks as though the official is giving him instructions on what his signals mean from out on the field.
Well, we might have, I don't know if this gentleman is a new clock operator or not. We might have somebody check that, but I don't believe he is. In the games that I've been here before, I think it's the same gentleman, so maybe it's just a problem. Here's a final score. The Jets shut out Baltimore today, Pat Leahy had 4 field goals in that game. Pittsburgh over Los Angeles, a shutout. First and 10 at the 33-yard line for Seattle. That's Largent in motion and up the middle. It was Theodis Brown to about the 36-yard line. Matt Millen, number 55, and Johnny Robinson, the rookie, number 68, making the tackle. Cincinnati keeps rolling. What a job the Bengals have been doing. 41-21, that one today. And the St. Louis Cardinals, behind the youngster from Portland State, Neil Lomax, now have won 3 in a row, all against AFC teams, 27-20 over New England. And Buffalo beats Washington 21-14. The Bills very much in the playoff picture. Zorn had a lot of time. Oh, a fine catch by Largent. That was not an easy ball, as my partner, Mr. Gene Washington, will be happy to tell you. Otis McKinney on the tackle, number 23, but for Largent, excellent concentration and fine movement to get himself in position to make this catch.
Largent was coming in motion, came shallow across the field. Zorn is looking for him, waiting for him to break on. Look at this catch. Turns all the way around. Outstanding catch. This guy is such a great athlete. You look at him and you say doesn't have blazing speed. He's not big. How does he catch all of these passes?
That was his 57th of the season, and he probably is headed for his finest year. Double tight ends now, John Sawyer and Mike Tice, 81 and 86 in the game as Largent comes out. It is first and 10 at the 44. And in motion, McCullum. The handoff goes to Theodis Brown over the 50, and he bangs down to the 49-yard line. Matt Millen, number 55, wrapped him up. Brown comes into the game with 391 yards and a fine 4.5 rushing average. This defensive unit on the field for the Raiders, the twos, John Matuszek with Robinson and Browning. The linebacking core, Hendricks, as you saw, playing in his 187th consecutive game. Hayes, Jackson, McKinney, and Owens, good secondary. Back into the game, Largent, an 8-yard pickup on the last play. McCullum comes out. Still 2 tight ends are there, 2nd and 2 at the 48. Largent goes in motion to the far sideline, and getting to the outside and getting the first down is Dornick. Dornick got to the 44-yard line. Monty Jackson, 42, and Matt Millen, 55, making the play. It was Oakland that wanted to control the ball on the ground, but at the moment the Raiders are doing it.
Well, the Raiders did a good job at the line of scrimmage. Johnny Robinson plugging things up, but Dornick bounces outside. Everything's plugged up in there. He bounces outside. He sees where he has to go for the first down, and he gets it. And Dan Dornick is a kind of a ball player. Again, he's a little like Steve Largent. Doesn't look like a tremendous athlete, but always gets the job done.
I said the Raiders are doing it. I meant Seattle is doing it. They're controlling this football very well as the clock is down to 8:42. Here's a little pass out to Dornick, and Dornick is shoved out of bounds after he got about a yard by Randy McClanahan, number 57. Dornick has caught 16 passes coming into today's action. He's rushed for 129 yards. He was the Pac-8 Scholar Athlete of the Year back in 1977, a fine performer out of Washington State. Dornick now comes out of the lineup, and they put the tight end back in there, Tice, the extra one, 86, along with Sawyer, 81. It's 2nd down and 8 at the 42. No score. The Kingdome in Seattle.
Blitz.
And a delay to Theodis Brown, and the blitz was on. They filled the hole with a rookie, Johnny Robinson.
The Raiders that time coming on a strong safety blitz. Number 23, Otis McKinney. Had that play broken, it would have been sayonara. It would have been Katie bar the door, because the play you don't want on a blitz is a draw, because McKinney was coming from the outside. Had he cleared the line of scrimmage, he would have had clear sailing.
And Cedric Hardman, 86, helped to slow that play down. Did a fine job. It's 3rd down and 9. 6 defensive backs in there now for Oakland. Zorn with time. Ball batted down by big number 72, John Matuszak. Matuszak, who went to school originally at Missouri and then matriculated to Tampa.
matriculated to Tampa. Well, whatever he did to get to Tampa, he's big, and at 6'8", he presents a big target. And look, he times his situation. He knows he can't get to the quarterback, but when you're 6'8", you stick those big arms up there. You have to be a quarterback who's almost 6'8" to get it over.
He is quite a factor in G. Jeff West, the 6-year man out of Cincinnati, 39.3, his average. Ted Watts, a single safety downfield. A wobbly kick to the far sideline, bounds at the 10, and batted back out, and it's down at the 5-yard line. A fine play made by Vic Minor, just put on the club's list this year. There he is, the little guy, Minor, just added this week. So Oakland will be backed up when we come back in a moment. Hope you're enjoying the play from the Kingdome. Jay Randolph with Gene Washington. Quite a play by Vic Minor added this week. A very fine play indeed. Will Lewis was waived, and Minor, he did a good job there, didn't he?
Well, Seattle is the second best team in the league in covering punts. They hold the opposition to 5 yards, as opposed to the Raiders, who are 26th in the league in covering punts.
Mark Wilson. His club backed up and starting from the 5, and Wilson from the end zone. Throwing long downfield for Cliff Branch. And Branch had it for just an instant. And as Dave Brown went for him, the ball popped away.
This is an exciting play, probably the most exciting play in football. Mark Wilson has his arm, gets good protection, throws the ball about 60 yards downfield. You can see Brown puts his arm in there just at the last minute. Cliff Branch using that great speed to run underneath the ball.
Here in the Kingdome, Jay Randolph with Gene Washington. Scoreless game. This pass out of the end zone to Mark Wilson for Cliff Branch. Couldn't quite hold it as Dave Brown made the tackle. Now on second down in a scoreless game, Wilson hands off to Derek Jensen. Jensen gets out to the 7-yard line before he's wrapped up by Robert Hardy, 75, and the safety man, Ken Easley, 45. 7:09 to play in the first quarter. A scoreless game. Seattle with a record of 4-8, but playing very well of late. Oakland with a record of 5-7. Third down and 6 coming at the 9-yard line. Pitch back comes to Kenny King, and King is out near the 14-yard line, short of the first down. Michael Jackson, the fine left side linebacker, 55, made the tackle. On 4th and 1, it's going to be punting time for the Oakland Raiders, and Seattle's defense has done an excellent job here in the early going.
Seattle's defense coming into this game, they haven't played particularly well against the run. As a matter of fact, there's only one team who's done worse. Seattle's 27th in the league, as they've given up an average of 176.5 yards per game. They're not doing badly so far today, though.
Second punt of the game for the talented Ray Guy, who's been having some back problems. There's a penalty marker down. Back is Paul Johns, takes it at the 35, over the 40, 45, midfield. Johns still going at the 40, down to the 35, and knocked out of bounds at the 31-yard line by the man who did the punting, Ray Guy.
The fans love it. Johns brought that ball back, but I think Sam McCullum is going to be guilty of being offsides. Look at this replay. Does an excellent job. He's a wide receiver. The nifty runner gets up into traffic, breaks and tackles, gets to the outside. An excellent run back. But as I mentioned before, I think number 84, Sam McCullum, who's a starting wide receiver.
Offside is going to be called, I believe, against the Oakland Raiders. That's the call. One of the Raiders apparently offside. When we come back, Seattle will have it at the Raiders' 31-yard line. No score.
Here you see the punter, Ray Guy, who's an outstanding athlete. He gets over there to make the tackle on Paul John. But as you can see right here, When he makes the tackle, the running back or receiver comes down right on Ray Guy's knee, and there on the sideline. He went into today's game with back problems, spent a couple of days in the hospital in traction.
If Guy can't do the punting, it would be Chris Barr or possibly Todd Christensen. Seattle at Oakland, scoreless. 1st and 10 at the 31-yard line for the Seahawks. Largent comes in motion. The handoff goes to Theodis Brown, and he dances down to the 27-yard line. Matt Millen, number 55, on the tackle. Millen played at Penn State, and how about the Nittany Lions yesterday, upsetting Pittsburgh 48-14. Did they do it in fashion?
What a game that's going to be in the Fiesta Bowl.
Oh.
USC Trojans.
USC and Penn State out in Tempe on Jan 1. Right here on NBC, of course. 2nd down and 6. Largent going in motion wide right. Theodis Brown in a little trouble. He got to the 25-yard line, a pickup of about 2, and Dave Browning, number 73, on the tackle.
A little help from Rod Martin out there, who, as I mentioned before, has 9 sacks. They're the bowl games. Penn State 9-2 versus USC at 9-2.
Our congratulations to the Huskies on a great year. And how about Hayden Fry? What a job he did at Iowa. Clemson's undefeated. They'll come out of the Valley to play Nebraska, the Big 10 champions, or the Big 8 champions.
I know that you happen to like Nebraska.
Well, Nebraska's, you know, I'm from that Big 8 country. Here's a quick toss, and Dornick couldn't quite get there. Pretty good pressure that time, Gene, by Ted Hendricks as he was coming down on Zorn. 4th down and a field goal try. We'll get a chance to see Wilson Alvarez. Alvarez, quite a story. The Seahawks, when they had some problems with Herrera's leg being put on injured reserve, they found him in Corpus Christi, Texas. Cleveland and Denver have given him tryouts. He had a call from Pittsburgh this week. He's from Bolivia and was a great tennis star in Bolivia. Alvarez will attempt. Ball spotted at the 33, a 43-yarder. It's on the way, and it is
wide to the right.
Wide to the right. So Alvarez, with an opportunity to give Seattle the lead, comes up wide. 4 minutes, 11 seconds remaining to be played. First quarter at the Kingdome. The Raiders and the Seahawks are scoreless. Last Sunday, Arrowhead Stadium, Kansas City, Joe Norman goes out right here.
Number 52, you'll see the block. Ooh, that looks just awful. That's Al Dixon, the tight end for Kansas City. Coming in that situation, he thought he could get his head in front, didn't do it. Now here's the man, Terry Beeson, who was starting earlier, has come back in and now has a starting assignment. Good against the run, but doesn't cover the pass that well.
Mark Wilson in trouble. And down he goes, back at the 10-yard line. And leading the way was Mike White, number 70, the free agent from Albany State. They like the way he's played. That's why he's starting at right tackle today for Doug Sutherland.
Mark Wilson has an awful lot of time to throw the football. You can see he gets back in the pocket. He's looking downfield. The problem is Seattle has done an excellent job in their coverage. And as you mentioned, Mike White, who came in and played when Robert Hardy was injured, now that Hardy's well, they liked the way he played so much they left him in and they took Doug Sutherland out.
It'll be 2nd down and 24. Penalty markers go down. Looked like it might have been Lindsey Mason, the left tackle, that jumped. There was some movement for Oakland.
Well, I was going to say, I missed that one before when I thought McCullum was offside. I think that I'm going to try again. I don't know if the official's microphone is working or not, but since you agreed that it was Lindsey Mason, I'll go that way too.
All right, we're going to find out. We are told that Gordon McCarter's microphone will not be working this half, that they hope to have it straightened out by the time we start the second half. Word we get is that Ray Guy will probably not return to this game, so it will be either Barr or Christensen that would have to do the punting.
That just compounds the problems that they're having on special teams already, Jay.
2nd down and 29. A handoff to Jensen. Ooh, did Jensen get hit at the 7-yard line? He took a shot. Terry Beeson was there, so was Robert Hardy. Beeson 58, Hardy 75.
That was Dave Brown, the right cornerback that came in to make that pop.
He popped him right there, and then Beeson and Hardy finishing it off. Now Kenny King is out, and Arthur Whittington, number 22, into the backfield. 3rd and 27 for the Oakland Raiders. Scoreless game, 2:55 to go, first quarter.
What? Oh!
Arthur Whittington.
Wide open. Arthur Whittington was wide open. Mark Wilson looking downfield, didn't see anything there. He had Whittington on a delay, absolutely wide open. Wilson tried to loft the ball to him and threw it over his head.
We'd been told that Guy probably would not return to this game, but he is there. He is back on the field. Bothered with back problems, bothered with an injury here. He's going to have to punt out of his own end zone, his 3rd punt of the game. Paul Johns in the middle. Kick is rather low. There should be a return. He's at the 45. Johns gets to the 40 and out of bounds at the 38-yard line. Run out by Ted Watson, number 41. So Seattle again in very good field position. 2:41 remaining in the first period. No score. Well, college basketball is underway, and next Saturday on NBC Sports, our premier, Dick Enberg and Al McGuire, call the action. UCLA upset by BYU, but a winner last night over Pepperdine, 76-69, goes against Notre Dame. Digger Phelps' club. They won 82-52 over St. Joseph's in Indiana last night. That's at 11 Pacific time next Saturday. College basketball on NBC. Zorn throwing and completing here to the near sideline to Dornick. Rod Martin, 53, the linebacker there to make the play.
Oakland changing up their defense. Instead of playing man-to-man, they go into a zone. They drop the 4 linebackers back deep. Zorn sees it, throws out in the flat to Dornick, just as a little outlet pass. Rod Martin's out there, comes up, makes a stop. One of the things the Raiders must do, they say they must contain Jim Zorn. And by containing him, what they mean is that they don't want him to break the pocket, to escape and scramble. He can be very dangerous when he starts running around there. He buys his receivers all sorts of time, and they're nifty receivers, and they'll break open, and he gets 6 points that way.
2nd down and 6. Largent to the far sideline, up the middle, Theodis Brown inside the 30, and down to the 28-yard line. Burgess Owens, 44. Randy McClanahan, 57 on the tackle. Right there, Gene, you see the ability of Theodis Brown. He is not an outstanding blocker. He's basically a tailback type runner. He just like to give him the ball and let him follow the blocking, and that's what he does very well indeed.
Well, the sign of a good running back is acceleration. That's the thing that the great backs, Walter Payton, O.J. Simpson, Delaney down in Kansas City, tremendous acceleration, and that's what Theodis Brown has to go along with his tremendous strength.
3rd down and 1. They've got Dugan and Boyd up there to give a little power in the line, and the handoff for the first down went to Dan Dornick. Dornick banging in there with the extra blockers. Dugan 66 and Boyd 68. First down at the 24-yard line with 1:35 to go in the first quarter. Dornick now leaving the ball game, and the 2 tight ends are there. Sawyer, 81, along with number 86, Mike Tice,
who was a quarterback at Maryland.
He was indeed. Tice is just a rookie, a free agent.
But he's big, 6'7", 235 pounds. Biggest quarterback I've ever seen.
Largent in motion. Again, the call goes to Theodis Brown, and he is down to the 15 and almost broken. Burgess Owens saved the touchdown.
Burgess came up to help out on that tackle, but as you'll see, look at the tremendous strength that Theodis Brown has. Burgess Owens is going to come up to make the tackle, and he's just going to bounce off. Look at this. Oh, tell me who got the worst of that.
Brown had his own radio show with Otis Anderson in St. Louis. They called it the Otis and Theodis Show. And now that Brown has left, they've got E.J. Jr. working with Anderson. They call it the O.J.E.J. show. Dornick close to the 11-yard line before Dave Browning, number 73, made the stop. Browning played at the University of Washington from Fairfield, Washington, born here in the Spokane area, actually. And Browning was a basketball captain also his senior year at the University of Washington. The Huskies in the Rose Bowl.
This game so far, as the first quarter comes to an end, has been played on Oakland's side of the field.
Indeed it has. The end of the first quarter in the sold-out Kingdome. Raiders nothing, Seahawks nothing.
I'll tell you, we never realized golf was such a tough game.
Hey, it's a lot easier hitting a quarterback than a little white ball. So us Linksters drink light beer from Miller.
Not just because light tastes great, but because it's got a third less calories than a regular beer.
And it's less filling.
And you can't afford to get filled up when you're out there trying to get birdies.
Yeah, those things move awfully fast.
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
No ego, Reggie. What's this?
My Panasonic portable color TV. I'm using it for life.
And this?
That's my Panasonic 1.5-inch travel vision. Part of my travel kit.
And this?
Now, how'd that Panasonic get there?
And this?
The room needed a view, so I got this big Panasonic.
Reggie, why?
Only Panasonic plays as brilliantly as I do.
Panasonic TV. So lifelike, you feel you're part of the picture.
With Gene Washington, this is Jay Randolph. We're in Seattle. They call it now the Emerald City. The Chamber of Commerce here had a contest to nickname this beautiful city in the Northwest. There are the first half statistics. A scoreless game. Seattle first and 10 at the Oakland 12. Theodis Brown down to the 7-yard line. Matt Millen, number 55, on the tackle. Ted Hendricks, number 83, his 13th year, originally a Baltimore Colt draft on the second round.
See him from ground level. He sheds that block and gets over in the action. As you mentioned, an outstanding player throughout his career. We came out of college at the same time. Tremendous person as well as a great football player. But let's talk about Seattle. Anytime the running backs are running as well as they are, that offensive line is doing a job. And we'll keep an eye on number 65, Edwin Bailey. And they say he really comes off the football and hits people.
Hey, he's a rookie, number 5 draft choice. Brown again. Brown to the 5 and stopped there as Matuzak came up to halt him.
There's Theodis Brown, but he's running into one of the guys who he's not going to knock back, and that's number 72, Big Twos. Twos Matuzak is not going to let any running back push him back.
31 yards here in the early going for Theodis Brown, who played at UCLA, has 4 touchdowns already this season for Seattle. Joined them just about 5 weeks ago in that trade from St. Louis. Here is 3rd and 2 at the 4-yard line. Largent left, McCullum right. Brown is in the slot right, and Zorn gets it out to Brown. Brown is down to the 3-yard line. They actually had Largent set out in the slot on the right side and Brown on the left as we look at it again.
Ted Hendricks is going to come in from the left ear screen, but Jim Zorn gets rid of the ball in a hurry out to Brown. And look at that nifty movement.
And look at that block by Edwin Bailey, who you mentioned a moment ago.
Is that calling him, Jay?
You're all right. We're early in the second period. And we're going to get an opportunity to see Wilson Alvarez again with Zorn to hold at the 4:11 mark of the first period. Alvarez missed a 43-yarder. This will be spotted at the 12, 22-yard attempt. Alvarez replacing Herrera, has it up and it's good. And Seattle draws first blood here in the Kingdome. 12:40 to play in the first half. And the Seahawks lead it 3-0. The outcomes have been incredible. Next Sunday, don't miss a dynamite doubleheader as the road to the playoffs continues on NBC Sports. Hi there, folks. Part of the fans who are here, the 37th consecutive sellout for the Seattle Seahawks. Oh, these fans are something up here. Alvarez, a high short kick, coming up to take it at the 12. Whittington at the 25, the 30, out to the 36-yard line comes Arthur Whittington. Number 26, Kerry Justin on the tackle.
Well, there's Rusty Tillman. You can see by the expression on his face, he's not happy with the team, the way his team covered that kickoff. And the reason he's not so happy is because they've done a good job. They were the third best team in the league coming into this game.
He's done an excellent job with the special teams here. Rusty, of course, was a pretty talented player himself. Frank Hawkins, number 27, in the backfield now with Kenny King, and that is King on the move over the 40, 45, midfield, and run out of bounds by John Harris, the safety man. A first down and some nice rambling for Kenny King. King out of Oklahoma, 4.5 rushing average.
Takes this ball on a sweep, and you're going to see he's going to break a tackle right here, and he's just going to simply outrun number 58, Terry Beeson, who's going to come in trying to catch up. And there's John Harris running him out of bounds. It's an example of the tremendous speed that Kenny King has, and has also turned into be a good receiver. Didn't catch many passes, though, at Oklahoma.
He's caught 24 this year for better than 200 yards. First and 10 at the 36-yard line. Seattle's leading 3-0. That's Frank Hawkins, the rookie from Nevada, Reno. Number 10 draft choice. Quite a find. Hawkins, number 27, the third all-time leading rusher in NCAA history. Three-time All-American. He was stopped by Robert Hardy, number 75, and it'll be second down and 7. Going wide to the right, Bob Chandler. They slot Branch on the right side. Here comes King the other way. Big hole at the 25, 20. And they're doing some very fine blocking up there. The rookie Kurt Marsh, Steve Sylvester, Mickey Marvin, Michael Jackson, number 55, on the tackle.
You said it, great blocking. Look at that hole. But there's always a cliche, the hole was big enough to drive a truck through, and that one certainly was. And that rookie, number 60, Kurt Marsh, who's playing at home, is having an outstanding ball game.
First and 10 at the 16-yard line. And right up the middle, bangs Hawkins. Hawkins gets to the 12-yard line. Stop made by Terry Beeson. Let's go to New York and update with Byron Day.
Jay, thank you very much. Big ball game in San Diego, the Broncos and the Chargers. Denver finally getting on the board. Larry Canada taking it in from 5 yards out. It's now 14-7 Chargers in the second. Jay?
Thank you, Byron, and nice to have you with us again this Sunday, keeping the fans up to date on the action around the league. It is second and 5 at the 11-yard line. The Raiders down 3-0, but threatening here, and that is Hawkins getting close to the 6-yard line. Mike White, number 70, on the tackle. And the Raider offensive line doing an excellent job on this drive. They have Lindsey Mason playing at left tackle for Art Shell. He's 71. Kurt Marsh, the rookie, is there at left guard. Gene Upshaw, the old veteran, is back down a slot.
Steve Sylvester at the center, as you mentioned before. He's the one guy in that Oakland line that can play every position. Center, both guards, and both tackle spots.
First and goal to go at the 6. Hawkins spun away from the first man that hit him.
Michael Jackson, first guy to come up and hit him.
But it was Jacob Green who made the tackle, number 79. Ball is spotted at the 4-yard line. There's Tom Flores. He was a former quarterback, of course, at Fresno Junior College, his hometown. Then played at College of the Pacific, coached there, joined the Raiders. Led the Raiders, of course, to Super Bowl 15. Jack Patera played for the Colts and the Cowboys. Second down and goal. Kenny King to the 2. Tuiasosopo on the tackle, number 74.
Mono, who had played inside at the tackle spot, has good quickness, and they decided to shift him out to the defensive end position. Made room for White and Robert Hardy in the middle. As I said, he has great speed, so that helps out on the pass rush.
3rd down and 2. At the 2 for the Raiders. The Seahawks leading 3-0. 8:45 to go in the first half. Hawkins 27, along with Kenny King 33, behind the young quarterback Mark Wilson. Wilson looking all kinds of time, throws incomplete. Had Bobby Chandler down in the left corner of the end zone, and the pass a little too tall maybe, although I've seen Chandler make that catch on many occasions.
Mark Wilson has plenty of time to throw the football. Oakland's offensive line does a great job. There's a little takedown there, like a wrestle takedown. He's backing up. He's waiting for Chandler to come across from right to left. He has Chandler open, but he delivers the football, and it's just simply too high. And as you mentioned, Bob Chandler has made some great catches, but he had no chance at this one.
That's a receiver talking, folks.
What do you expect me to say?
That's right. Barr will attempt the field goal. Chandler's holding at the 10. 20-yarder is up and good. And we've got a tie game. 8 minutes, 26 seconds remaining to be played here in the Kingdome in the first half. The Raiders and the Seahawks tied at 3. The talented Jim Plunkett played at Stanford, an old friend of yours.
Old friend, teammate. He's a guy that made me a first-round draft choice when we were at Stanford my senior year.
Downfield it comes, the kickoff taken. Horace Ivory on the return. Ivory getting back into action this week. Penalty marker is down. Mike Davis on the tackle, and we'll see what the penalty infraction is. Bring you up to date on some scores. Tampa Bay came back and now leading 24-14 in the fourth quarter at New Orleans. John McKay has those Bucks playing very well.
The early indication is that it's illegal use of the hands or holding or blocking, something to do with that against Seattle.
Well, I'm not too good at reading lips, but Gordon McCarter, who has microphone problems, indicates what the penalty was and the push in the back, and it went back to the 14-yard line.
How about that score?
Yeah, Green Bay coming back. That might have saved Bart Starr a little trip.
Maybe 2 weeks.
Okay. Atlanta shutting out Houston in the second quarter, 10-0. 1st and 10 back at the 13 as Largent comes in motion, and the handoff goes to Theodis Brown. Brown trying to get some help out in front, and he got about 2 yards as Monty Jackson, number 42, came over to make the tackle from the right corner spot for the Raiders.
Monty Jackson making the stop on Theodis. He got up and his helmet was still on the ground. I tell you, when you finish a game and if you've had to tackle Theodis Brown more than 3 or 4 times, it's going to take you a little while to recover. He really delivers a blow.
That call a few moments ago, illegal use of hands charged against Michael Jackson. 2nd down and 8 at the 15, 7:40 to go, a 3-3 game, second period. Kingdome, Seattle, with Gene Washington. This is Jay Randolph. Play action. Zorn goes to the far sideline, and a fine play as they beat Otis McKinney. It looked like McKinney was right there, but the rookie Paul Johns out of Tulsa did a fine job, made his 7th catch of the season.
Otis McKinney, who's a strong safety, is such a good pass cover that they put him out in a wide receiver when the opposition goes with 3 wides. And as you'll see, he's right there on the coverage. Zorn throws an excellent pass so that the receiver has to come back to it. His movement is coming back to the ball. McKinney's in great shape, but there's very little he can do about it. Excellent pass on the part of Jim Zorn.
6th first down in the game for Seattle. Nothing there for Dan Dornick. Johnny Robinson, the rookie.
Johnny Robinson, number 68 in the middle, a nose tackle. Look at the strength. He has great quickness, but he simply picks up the center, number 51, John John Yarno throws him aside and makes the tackle.
Robinson.
Filling in for Reggie Kinlaw, who was injured. As a matter of fact, I think before the season started, the first game.
Yeah, he's been out all year with the knee problem. David Hughes now, number 46, in the backfield. As Zorn had that ball tipped and almost intercepted. The linebacker, Matt Millen, almost came away with it. Zorn looked like he was trying to go to Hughes coming out of the backfield down at the 40-yard line.
No, I think he was going for Largent. He had Largent had Lester Hayes beat a little bit coming to the middle, and he tried to loft the ball over. But as you could see there, it was tipped. Ball almost intercepted.
Largent was there, and of course, Hughes was just behind him, curling out. But I think you're right. It's going to be 3rd down and 8. Largent coming to the near sideline. And Steve Rabel, number 83 in the game. He's wide to the left. McCullum is in the slot right. There goes Largent.
Ted Hendricks is coming on the blitz.
They picked it up. Zorn throwing and completing. Sam McCullum. Oh, he beat the blitz. Monty Jackson on the tackle. 1st down, Seattle.
The fans love it. Jim Zorn loves to see a blitz, particularly if his offensive lineman can pick it up. Ted Hendricks came on the blitz. They picked up the blitz. Sam McCullum, you'll see Hendricks coming on the left side of your screen. There's Matthews in the middle. There's Hendricks. He can't get there. McCullum runs a corner pattern. He beats Monty Jackson. Monty Jackson looks back. Couldn't see the football. Excellent throw. Great pattern.
Excellent throw is right. Under pressure, Zorn out of Cal Poly. Put it on consignment to McCullum, his 36th catch of the season. 1st down at the 35. Again, play action from Zorn. Has time.
He's open.
There's McCullum again at the 5, out of bounds at the 3-yard line. And he had double coverage down there that time. Hayes along with Owens. Well, you might as well come with what you're going good at.
If it's working, go back to it again, and they run the same pattern. McCullum comes into the middle like he's going to run a post pattern. Comes back to the corner. This time he beats Lester Hayes. Burgess Owens comes over to help, but his Owens' first responsibility is anything deep inside. But McCullum went inside and then back to the corner.
67 yards on 2 catches. And 1st and goal to go at the 3-yard line. 5:45 to play in the 1st half. The score tied 3-3. Zorn bootlegs, and he is in. Touchdown, Seattle. Seattle on top, and what a great block he got from 68 Dennis Boyd.
This is run all the way. As soon as Zorn comes out from underneath the center, he tucks the ball under his shoulder. He's running all the way. That's a tremendous asset when a team has a quarterback who's very versatile and mobile and can run the football, because when he gets out in this situation, he still has that option to throw. Puts a lot of pressure on the defense.
The point after by Wilson Alvarez, who earlier got the field goal, is good. 5:44 to play in the 1st half. The Seahawks 10 and the Raiders 3. Back with more in a moment. We pause briefly for station identification. This is the NBC Television Network.
This is KING-TV, Channel 5, Seattle.
Seattle leading at 10-3. Wilson Alvarez kicks off. This one's a boomer. Whittington back at the 1. At the 10. 15. Down he goes. Leading the way, Michael Jackson, number 55. Number 59, Rodell Thomas, the rookie from Alabama State. The scoring drive took 2:33. Zorn bootlegged it in, 87 yards and 7 plays. The Seahawks are leading it 10-3.
Well, Rusty Tillman can be proud of his fellows on that time. Getting down and stopping the Raiders, holding them about the 15-yard line. Again, They're in poor field position. Now the offense has got to get that football out. They got to start playing on Seattle's side.
Young Alvarez showed us a good strong leg. He had a lot of height on that ball, and it got it down to the 1-yard line, too. First down for the Raiders. Mark Wilson comes out to Hawkins. He's at the 20. Had to go to the safety valve on the right side. Michael Jackson made the tackle as Hawkins, or Kenny King, excuse me. King got to the 22-yard line.
But look at number 60 in the middle of your screen. That's the rookie, Kurt Marsh, who's filling in for Gene Upshaw. Playing alongside of him, number 71, Lindy Mason, playing for the injured Art Shell. And they're both doing a good job. Mark Wilson dropped back there, and he had all day to throw the ball.
Branch coming over to the near side. Bob Chandler wide to the right. Up the middle, Frank Hawkins. Hawkins averaging 4.1 per carry. He just carried the ball 10 times for 41 yards coming into today's game. Robert Hardy, number 75, along with Keith Butler, the linebacker, 53, stalled him. Clock is running with 4 minutes and 35 seconds left to go in this first half. Jack Patera, his club leading 10-3. Patera, who coached the original Fearsome Foursome.
Is that right?
Yep. Did you know that?
No, I didn't.
He did. Now, a little later on, I'm going to ask you who those 4 fellows were. Out it comes to Frank Hawkins. And Hawkins is out to the 27-yard line, and Keith Butler again makes a fine play. Butler, number 53, out of Memphis State.
Keith Butler is a very intense football player. Sometimes that intensity can get him in trouble because he'll overplay situations. He's settled down a little bit because he's gotten more experience, but he's a nice guy to have on that other side. But the linebacker is having a great year. He missed a few tackles today. Is number 55, Michael Jackson.
Yes,
they say he's a candidate for All-Pro this year.
No question about it. 2nd and 7 at the 29. Wilson again has got lots of time over the middle. There he is. Cliff Branch, first down, 41-yard line. Dave Brown, the right cornerback, and Michael Jackson, the linebacker, made the tackle. But if we're going to get this much time for Mark Wilson and let Branch do a little freelancing out there, they're going to have some problems.
If Wilson has this much time, he's going to have a good football game because he's got the arm. Take a look at Henry Lawrence, who's done a good job blocking on probably the leading sacker on the Seattle team, and that's number 79, Jacob Green.
1st and 10, 42.
We've got Arthur Whittington now, number 22, in the backfield with Frank Hawkins. King and Jensen sitting it out. On first down from the 42. Long pass for Chandler. Oh, almost intercepted. It looked like it. John Harris looked like he might come away with number 8. Harris has 7 interceptions. He's tied with Ray of the Jets. And that looked like number 8 for a moment.
Wilson had Chandler running down the field with Dave Brown. When he threw the football, he led him, trying to get him to run under it, but I don't think he saw number 44, John Harris. There you can see 7 interceptions for 2 touchdowns. That's not bad.
Ray of New York tied with him. Then comes Sheldon Harris. On 3 occasions in this game, when Mark Wilson has gone long, he has been too long. 2nd and 10 at the 42, penalty marker down, and the pass wide of the intended receiver, Bob Chandler. Chandler, boy, you know, there were people back in Buffalo who used to rap that fella as not being tough, but he's come back after having his spleen removed and after the Denver game and hung in very tough.
Well, I don't know how he got that rap back there, but I tell you, he is one of the truly great athletes. You hear that phrase an awful lot about a player being a great athlete. He's practically a scratch golfer, good basketball player, doesn't have great speed, very intelligent football player, but is a tremendous athlete, one of the best athletes I've ever seen. And as you said, if a guy can have surgery, have a spleen removed, come back and play in one season, he's got to be tough.
Yes, sir. Originally a Buffalo 7th round draft choice. Bob Chandler. It was offside against Seattle, 2nd and 5 at the 47-yard line for the Raiders. They're trailing 10-3. The delay to King, and they read it well. King got barely back to the line of scrimmage. Manu Tuiasosopo and Terry Beeson on the play. Clock running with 2.5 to go. Number 58, Harry Beeson taking over for Joe Norman.
Talking again about Bob Chandler. He's been in 2 situations where he's been open. The football wasn't delivered to him properly. That can be very frustrating. The problem is that if he starts to compensate for the quarterback, they're going to have real problems. He really has to be disciplined now to stay with his pattern.
Wilson throwing high, intending for Derek Ramsey, the big tight end. One of the Seahawks shaken up on the 41-yard line on the far side. And that is
Keith Simpson, number
Keith
42.
Simpson.
They can ill afford to have him out. It looks like his ankle is giving him some trouble. As I mentioned before, he's a tremendous athlete. They say he's the best athlete on the defense.
We'll be back with more action from the Kingdome. Seattle leading the Oakland.
There's number 55, the linebacker, Michael Jackson, who's covering Derek Ramsey. You'll see on the top of your screen, there it is. Keith Simpson, number 42. He didn't get hit, but his foot got caught on that AstroTurf, and he turned his ankle.
And he has come out of the game as we have a punting situation, of course, now for Oakland on 4th and 4. Ray Guy, who is patched up and back in there, has had back problems, was shaken up early in this game. Guy, another high spiral. And let it go, and it is into the end zone. It'll come to the 20-yard line. A little shoving match there. We're going to get the 2-minute warning here also. A timeout with the Seahawks leading the Raiders 10-3. NFL coming up at halftime with NFL 81, of course. Byron Day will bring you up to date on everything. And Gene, I know I speak for you and all of our friends. Congratulations to our good friend Bryant Gumbel, who will be taking over on today. Sherman Smith is now in the backfield along with Theodis Brown. And Zorn on first down throws, and it is incomplete at the 35-yard line. It was Paul Johns who was the intended receiver, couldn't hold on. Otis McKinney on the coverage.
The word on
Keith Simpson
is that it's his ankle, right ankle. We could see on that replay where, and that happens sometimes on that AstroTurf, those shoes that you wear, the friction is so good, sometimes you get a seam or something, and you'll just get, sometimes what will happen is you get a spiral fracture. No one will even hit you. Just be the AstroTurf.
Second down, 10. Zorn going long for the tight end, or McCullum. It was McCullum. Well, they had McCullum down there along with Largent. Also Rabel. Owens and Monty Jackson on the coverage. Clock stopped with 1:44 to go in this first half.
I was surprised that Zorn threw that football. There's Simpson. He's behind Beeson on the sideline. As I mentioned before, they say that he's the best athlete on the defense.
I'll tell you, I was here earlier in the year. I don't know if he's had an interference call go against him recently, but he hadn't had an interference call up until that time, and he really is a player. 3rd and 10. Zorn again to go upstairs. The rush is on. He rolls out of there. And Zorn over on the sideline. Ted Hendricks brought him down. Oh, with 1:37 to go in this first half, the Oakland Raiders will get the football as it's punting time for Jeff West. West with a 39.3 average. West has been around. He's got a few stickers on his trunk. St. Louis, San Diego. Fair catch called for by Ted Watts, and the Raiders are going to get the ball at their own 43.5-yard line. Next Sunday on NBC Sports, highlights, scores, late-breaking news from around the league. And then, of course, we've got a doubleheader, very important action for you. The New England Patriots down in Miami. It could be a very critical AFC East matchup. And then in games that might very well decide division leads, Kansas City's at Denver. Buffalo takes on San Diego. You'll want to check your local listings for the games and times in your area. Next Sunday, the NFL on NBC. Jack Patera. In '78, he was the NFL Coach of the Year for the great job he did with this young club. Wilson on the run. Down he goes at the 50, short of a first down. Jacob Green popped down on him, along with number 26, Kerry Justin. Justin is now playing for Keith Simpson at the cornerback spot.
The Raiders are going with 3 wide receivers. Number 81, Morris Bradshaw, is into the game, split out wide to the right.
And the throw to the far sideline very nicely to Morris Bradshaw. The 8-year veteran from Ohio State planted himself along the sideline, took it in, stepped right out.
14 yards.
Has done an outstanding job on special teams since he's been with the Raiders. Number 81, Morris Bradshaw, and I think that's one of the problems why they haven't done so well in their special teams, because when Bradshaw had to step in for the injured Bob Chandler, that took him off the special teams.
That was the 22nd catch of the year for Bradshaw. Branch. And Bradshaw wide to the right, Chandler to the left.
Blitz.
Down he goes. Not to be denied was Mike White, number 70, the free agent who played at Cincinnati.
Number 55, Michael Jackson, coming on the blitz, causes some people to go for him. Number 70, Mike White, we mentioned before, wasn't a starter, had to come in and play for the injured Robert Hardy, doing an outstanding job coming through for the sack.
And we'll be back with more from the Kingdome right after these messages.
Jim Plunkett is quarterback of the Super Bowl champion Oakland Raiders. In his 11 years in the NFL, he's known great moments of victory and periods of despair. But Jim Plunkett always kept trying. He never gave up.
Hello. Say, lesson I learned from my parents, and they taught me never to quit. You see, both of my parents were blind. That never stopped them. They raised a family. They gave me a chance to be whatever my vision could make me.
As a United Way volunteer, Jim teaches others the lessons that his parents taught him.
Sometimes the mere sharing of the beauty in a single flower can open a new experience for someone, even if they never see it. Perhaps through people who cannot see, we can all come to understand and learn the lesson that life is what you make it. And what you make it is up to you. You know, thanks to you, it really does work for all of us, the United Way.
Jim Plunkett, quite a gentleman, and the preceding announcement was furnished as a public service by the National Football League. Plunkett, of course, had that hand injury earlier this year, and that caused some problems, more, I think, than the Oakland Raiders were ready for.
Hurt his thumb in the first game of the season. He's the type of player that won't complain. He didn't say very much about it, but people were wondering why he was throwing the ball so poorly, and that was the reason, a sore thumb.
And here is incomplete. And now a penalty has been called back downfield against Michael Jackson as the pass went to Arthur Whittington along the sideline. He was out of bounds, but a personal foul against Jackson, and boy, is he upset.
Michael Jackson has had a frustrating afternoon. We mentioned before that he's all-pro caliber, but he has missed some tackles today. He's going to be guilty of probably roughing the passer in this situation.
Sometimes, as you well know, Gene, you get your gears revved up too fast.
That happens. Never heard it put quite that way, but I think it means the same thing.
Personal foul. Well, this is a very big penalty at this point in the proceedings with 51 seconds left to go. First half. Seahawks leading 10-3. The Raiders have it at the 33-yard line. The Raiders with 2 timeouts remaining. Mark Wilson quarterbacking the Raiders. Steps and throws, and it is complete. And out of bounds goes Cliff Branch. Cliff, who played his collegiate ball at Colorado. 44 catches last year. And he needed 4 catches for 400. Gregory Johnson on the coverage. Let's watch. At his second catch today, Branch, or his third. We'll double check it.
Well, he had 32 coming into today's game for 484 yards. but only 1 touchdown. To me, when you have a guy like Cliff Branch on the field, he's so fast. That's his 2nd catch of the day. Has so much speed and puts a lot of pressure on the defense, but you have to get the football to him. He's too valuable of a weapon not to get the ball to him.
First down at the 22. A lot of time. Here's a throw for Branch. Intercepted. The interception picked off by John Harris. His 8th of this season. And that is some year he has had. The 20th career interception for him.
I was just saying that they need to get the football at Cliff Branch, but you don't throw it when the free safety's standing back there licking his chops. There's number 40, John Harris, who comes up with his 8th interception, which is a club record. As you can see, he's just waiting for this football. Branch has no chance. The only thing Cliff can do is try to break it up, but I don't even think he was in position to do that. Mark Wilson simply did not see John Harris. He decided to throw the ball from when he left the huddle. Oftentimes that happens. I was a quarterback. I was in those situations. Decide who you're going to throw the ball to when the play's called. That's a mistake.
Well, it was a big play. And now Zorn hands it off to Dornick. Half a minute to go as Robinson made the tackle. Tom Flores has got to be a bit upset that they didn't at least come away with 3 in that situation. The interception by the extremely talented John Harris.
One of the reasons that Mark Wilson is playing, though, is to give him the experience. The only way a quarterback can get experience is to play, to be in the heat. And he's getting his baptism this season.
A field goal by Wilson Alvarez, a 3-yard bootleg by Zorn for 10 points, a field goal for Barr, and that's the scoring. 10-3 at halftime. The Seahawks lead the Raiders. NFL 81 coming up in a moment. The 9th meeting in a very spirited series between the Raiders and the Seahawks. Oakland has won the last 3 games. The Seahawks are leading the Raiders 10-3 here at halftime. Let's go to New York. NFL 81, Byron Day.
Thank you very much, Jay Randolph. Hello, everyone. I'm Byron Day. Welcome you back here to our NFL 81 headquarters at NBC in New York. It's halftime in Seattle. You know that, of course. Seattle Seahawks lead that ball game 10-3. What we want to do now is catch you up on scores around the rest of the league for this Week 13. Week 13 was certainly unlucky for the Baltimore Colts. They lost their 12th in a row. The Jets hadn't shut anyone out since 1976. They did it to Tampa Bay. Today, they did it to the Colts 25-0. Freeman McNeil getting the Jets on the scoreboard early. 30-yard touchdown run, his first rushing TD of the year at 7-0 Jets. But the Colts were not playing very well at all. Here, a pass is tipped into the arms of Bruce Laird. He drops the ball. This led to a Pat Leahy field goal, a 37-yard field goal. That put the Jets up 10-0 early in the first quarter. Then Richard Todd throws a short pass to Scott Durkin. As he's trying to get more yardage, he fumbles the football, but guess what? The Jets picked the ball up again. This led to a 21-yard field goal by Pat Leahy, 13-0 Jets. Burt Jones not having a good time with the New York Sack Exchange here. Mark Gastineau picks him off. It wasn't until the second half that there was any real excitement in the football game. It was a workmanlike effort by the Jets. Bruce Harper takes it back 46 yards as punt return. That sets up a Jets score by McNeil once again. That made the score 19-0 at that point. 25-0 was the final score in that ball game. Los Angeles and Pittsburgh, the Rams are now 5-8. Pittsburgh, once again, another late season surge for the Steelers. They are now 8-5, 2 teams going in opposite directions. Pat Hayden was starting quarterback today for the Rams. He went out early. But for the Steelers, Franco Harris getting the Pittsburgh team on the board early, 1-yard touchdown run there, 7-0. Franco Harris on the day, 18 carries, 113 yards for Franco Harris. He now is the all-time NFL run leader. Terry Bradshaw passing 8 yards to number 88, Lynn Swann. That made the score 14-0 Pittsburgh. Really an easy day for the Steelers because watch this. Jack Ham picks off a Pat Hayden pass, returns it 25 yards to the 2-yard line. Terry Bradshaw taking it in himself. Final score there, Pittsburgh 24-0. Terry Bradshaw, 10 of 19, 204 yards on the day, 1 touchdown throwing, 1 touchdown passing. Cincinnati and Cleveland, Kenny Anderson and the Bengals are having the kind of season that most pro teams can only dream about. They went into the game today needing a win to clinch a possible playoff position. They went after it very, very quickly. Kenny Anderson up top, 39 yards. Chris Collinsworth, his exciting rookie from Florida. That score made it 14-0. Pete Johnson scoring earlier. Kenny Anderson again, 7 yards to Chris Collinsworth. 21-zip. Cincinnati out on top. Brian Sy finally getting the act together for the Browns. He threw 6 interceptions last week. Here he throws to Ricky Feature, making it 21-7. But Anderson countered right back. 2-yard touchdown pass to Emil Harris, 28-7 Cincinnati. Sy having a little bit better day than what he did last week. Here he makes a 22-yard run to Cincinnati's 7-yard line. This set up a Mike Pruitt 1-yard touchdown plunge, making the score 28-14 at that point. But then the Seahawks, then the Bengals just began to pull away. Pete Johnson, a 12-yard touchdown run. Final score in that ball game, Cincinnati, no problem with Cleveland. 41-21 Cleveland could very well be eliminated from the race so far. St. Louis and New England, final score there, 27-20. Billy Sullivan said earlier, Ron Earhart's job is safe. He's going to make a decision probably sometime next year, but at the moment, it does not look too good for Ron Earhart or New England Patriots. They drop now to 2-11. St. Louis streaking now at 6-7. They've won their last 2 ball games in a row. 27-20 St. Louis. Washington and Buffalo, the Bills needing a win today, 21-14 over the Redskins. Ferguson, 6 of 18 for 70 yards. Not such a good day. 1 touchdown. Roland Hooks, 19 carries, 108 yards. Green Bay and Minnesota. The Packers upsetting the Vikings. Last week, the Packers took it on the chin from Tampa Bay. This week, they returned the favor to Minnesota, 35-23, Green Bay over Minnesota. Minnesota could ill afford to lose that football game. Tampa Bay and New Orleans. The last time Tampa Bay visited New Orleans down in the Dome, they upset, if you can call that an upset of the Saints last year for their first victory back in 1976. This year, 31-14, a final Tampa Bay over New Orleans. Denver, San Diego. It's at the half now. San Diego leading Denver 20-10. Chuck Muncie having quite a day for himself already. He scored on a 14-yard run early on in the ball game after Dan Fouts had passed to number 89 Wes Chandler. This set up that run by Chuck Muncie. By the way, Muncie now leads the NFL in rushing touchdowns. He has 17 on the season. Fouts came right back. He passed 44 yards to number 89 Wes Chandler. This set up a Chuck Muncie 1-yard touchdown run. Point after was good. Score then stood at 14-0 San Diego. It looked like San Diego might be on the road to a rout, but then Larry Canada pulled the Broncos within 7. He runs it in from 5 yards out. That made it 14-7. Now watch this play. Denver fumbles his punt. San Diego recovers. They eventually moved in on another Muncie touchdown run. That made the score 20-7 at that point. Fred Steinfort came on and kicked a field goal for Denver, making it 20-10. That ball game at the half. Atlanta, Houston, 24-6. Now at the or in the second quarter rather, 24-6. Atlanta over Houston, not having any problem with the Oilers. Oakland, Seattle, the game that you're enjoying right now. Seattle, 10-3 over Oakland. Giants in San Francisco out on the Bay, 14-0. The 49ers over the Giants. We'd like to remind you, coming up New Year's Day, we hope that you'll be with us all day long, beginning with the Fiesta Bowl, continuing on to the Rose Bowl, and then the Orange Bowl. You can sit right there and be with us all day long and enjoy great football action. Fiesta Bowl is first up. Penn State will be taking on USC. Then in the Rose Bowl, it'll be Iowa versus Washington. Everyone says Washington. Who are they? Well, they've been in the Rose Bowl 3 out of the last 5 years. Should be a very good ball game. Then in the Orange Bowl that night, a possible matchup of teams fighting for the #1 ranking in college football for the year. Clemson, sure to move into the #1 place tomorrow, taking on Nebraska. A very, very good ball game, matching the ACC champion against the Big 8 champion, Nebraska. Also next Saturday, don't forget, NBC is a home of great NCAA college basketball action. We've got a great game to start it off. UCLA taking on Notre Dame, 2 o'clock Eastern time, right here on NBC. You're caught up on all the scores of the day. Now let's return to Seattle. Jay Randolph and Gene Washington.
Thank you very much, Byron Day. The Seahawks leading the Raiders 10-3 here at halftime in the Kingdome. NFL 81 halftime activities will continue in a moment. We'll be right back after these messages from your local station. This 1981 National Football League game is brought to you by Old Milwaukee Light. We've got the taste of light right. Old Milwaukee Light. By the new Chrysler Corporation. For 1982, Chrysler has the cars, the quality, and the prices America needs. By Sears Roebuck and Company. You can count on Sears. And by the award-winning wines of Ernest and Julio Gallo. With Gene Washington, Jay Randolph. Halftime at the Kingdome, your halftime statistics, and a pretty even ball game. The Seahawks are leading at 10-3. The difference being a 3-yard touchdown romp by quarterback Jim Zorn on the bootleg. That came at 5:44 of the second period.
But, Jay, look at the difference in net yards passing. The Raiders only 34. Seahawks 110. Mark Wilson obviously